Good evening, everybody, and how are we doing today? Let you know, we do actually have some announcements to actually go through just before we do bring in Wanda. Actually, Wanda is actually here with us. We are coming to you live actually from a mystery spot actually in Guelph, Ontario. Want to start explaining about Guelph?
Guelph is one town that I used to live in. It's not too far from where we live now currently, so we just came over here for the night and wanted to check some stuff out tonight. But want to do a quick haunting live from here while we're here. So,
yep. For those of you actually started reading our posts this week, actually we do actually have some sad news. Actually, Saturday night after when we did our live feed, actually from the Coronet, actually in Kitchener, we got home and our little boy was not doing too well. He actually had thyroid liver problem. His back end was very, very skinny. And also, though, his actually back leg was also not good. So what we did those actually, since he was not moving, he's not eating his food. What we did those, we actually did move. I actually had to put him down.
Okay, we're back. Thank you very much for tuning in for part 2 of our podcast for Haunting Live. This is not an investigation podcast, but we're starting to do different topics on Saturday nights, Friday nights, on the weekends. And podcast chat with you guys, different topics of the paranormal. So we're continuing that, and we have here Wanda.
Yeah.
Just before we had to break there, we were talking about different types of, I guess, labels and
sensing and labels.
Yeah, different ways people label things in the field and how people feel about that kind of things. And well, just to recap where you were left off. Before we had to do a break, I think you were talking about using remote viewing, right, as a label.
Yeah, there's remote viewing as a label, and if you're a psychic, you're not using mediumship. Like if you're a medium, that you can't use remote viewing or psychic skills. So I'm really saying that they all come into play, like.
Yeah.
And like, if you're going to investigate a lost person or a crimes investigation, you want to use everything at your disposal. Now, you're going to have to do some remote sensing in that case. In my results from my own work, during that process, I pick up a spirit in that remote location. So isn't that mediumship? So it's not remote. It's not.
You're still using that ability that you have in mediumship, but it's kind of being labeled the same thing. And that's what we're trying to discuss tonight here with everybody. And if anybody has any opinions and want to jump in and let us know what your thoughts are on it. By all means, Chris is on chat, so you guys can pop in and chat with Chris. He'll answer your questions for you and relay them to us. But we're just discussing tonight topics on labels in the paranormal community. Why things are labeled the way they are. Like, everybody uses their own abilities in different ways. Mediumship is an ability, psychic is an ability. Wanda was just discussing remote viewing is an ability, but it's still all the same type of abilities. But people need to have a need to separate those into different fields or different labels. So.
Right.
And Christine just tuned in.
Hi Christine, thanks for tuning in. Hope things are getting warmer up there for you.
So it's like, there are times when a spirit will take me to a location and show me around the location. So that's still remote sensing, but through a spirit. And how much, if I get a psychic impression, am I supposed to throw that away? And I'm only supposed to use my mediumship ability and talk to the spirit?
Right.
I don't think so.
No, because you do that when we do investigations too, right? You will, another form of mediumship is meditation as well. So before you come and help us out on an investigation, you usually do a meditation And that brings in a lot more information, and a lot usually proves accurate once you get to the investigation. So,
And it's a very similar idea as the crime investigation of missing person, because it's remote sensing. And most of the time, like 9 out of 10 times, in that meditation, the spirit will come and also show me around. But you want to access all the information you can. It's not.
yeah, you need all the information, all the points coming to you from different sources. So it's not just, well, I'm going to meditate only on this one place we're investigating and then that's it. If you get a message, say while you're driving to work the day before an investigation or something, you're not going to just point blank ignore that message, right?
Yeah. That's exactly, because I have to label where it came from. Oh, that couldn't have come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to trust that spirit is going to communicate with you however the best that they can. In a way.
Yeah, and spirit communication also can be different forms and different labels. You can have messages that are physical, because you get a physical message like an object appearing that you don't know where it came from, or my keys disappearing again. That always happens to me, and it just happened to me recently again, right when Speedy passed.
Oh, okay.
And the last time they disappeared was when we moved into our house in Cambridge, which was Paranormal Survivor that we did. The keys disappeared there too, right when we moved into a haunted home.
Right.
There's different messages that come through that you can't just ignore either, like different ways of meditating or different signs that come in are all ways of looking at mediumship, right?
Yep. Sensing energy is the basic start of mediumship anyways, and it's the more you work with it and explore it, the more you realize there's more to that energy. Oh, it's not just this, it's this, now it's this.
And the more you explore your abilities, the more maybe one thing might be your way rather than the way you thought it was. So maybe you thought you were good at mediumship, but maybe you're good at remote viewing like we were talking about, and you didn't know that.
Yeah, like maybe there's any way that you can connect with a spirit of a spirit. But when I look at it this way, everything is spirit.
Yeah, everything's energy, so everything, including objects, is energy.
And a spirit, or it could be your spirit guides, or that are helping you with that remote viewing. So that is spirit communication.
Yeah.
I mean,
spirit guides also do things in a lot of weird ways too. Like they'll send you signs to help you out, or to encourage you, or to make you see something that you missed, or.
Actually, Trevor and I, we basically talked about though is Saturday night. My parents actually had the whole area had a power outage.
Yes.
You actually had the knife.
Yeah, the hand injury.
Yeah. Alright, so the connection there, and then all of a sudden I became really sick.
Yeah.
So, spirits were actually sending messages
And,
in different which ways.
Yeah, that always happens before an investigation, we find. Does it
not
happen
always
to you?
negative things
Not
like
negative,
that.
no.
Like, this
I
just
mean,
happens to be a
messages in general.
Yeah.
Those messages come through in many different ways, other than just meditating before an investigation or doing a reading with a pendulum before an investigation to find out information. You have to be aware of all aspects of spirit communication before you do any type of work, I think.
Because anything, it's like anything you do.
Or just be more open to it.
The energy of something that's coming in the future is starting to overlap, starting to come into your present. So even though the investigation wasn't for a day away, certain things of the energy of it were coming into our present as we approach it.
And you might not realize that the day before or 2 days before an investigation. You'll say, oh, that's really weird. That thing I just saw really stuck out to me. What does that mean? After an investigation that you just had, it might connect afterwards, like it did with us.
Yeah, there could be a lot of different.
Yeah. And then you realize, well, that's what that was about. Maybe I should keep my eyes open in the future. I think that's some things that a lot of investigators may miss when they do an investigation. You know what I mean? Like they'll go out, they'll do their investigation, they'll take their cameras, take their tools, do their thing, but they're not open to what's happening around them, that the spirits are trying to communicate to them. Then they'll close it off after the investigation is done and not link up anything else that's happened before the investigation or during the investigation.
Right, they're not sensing their energy necessarily. They're just doing scientific instead of they're ignoring the spirit, their own spiritual side.
Yeah, their own spiritual side is not awakened enough to notice things sometimes, I think.
But that's a really good point to be making about the spiritual side of an investigation. An investigation starts plenty of time before the actual date.
Yeah, spirits know everything that you're going to do before you do. They know what's going to happen before you get there. We've had that a lot of times too, right?
Yeah, and I've had other investigations in years back, even with the old team I had. As we had very similar things happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would be the investigation had to be called off.
So if we cut off as usual, guys, we'll try to stay on as long as we can for chat. But if we cut out, we'll come back as a second part and just reconnect afterwards. Probably Wi-Fi here at the hotel isn't the best, but
We can try data.
no, we're gonna not keep it that long. But
Okay.
yeah. So do you have anything else you'd like to add for talking about labels and how spirits communicate messages through to you for investigations?
Yeah, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
good one. Just accept your abilities however they come in and work with it.
Yeah, I guess how for those people that just joined us, we got on to talking about this was we really tried to teach people what the difference is between TV paranormal or movie paranormal and real paranormal investigating. We like to help people and teach people rather than just coming in and doing an investigation by ourselves. If we can help somebody learn things and learn what real, true paranormal investigating is all about, we try to do that whenever we go out to new locations. So the new location we took somebody to, well, it was their new time, to one of our old locations, the Coronet, this past Saturday, Coronet Hotel. We had a young guest with us, Chris's nephew. His name is Noah, and he's really interested. He's 12 years old, and he wanted to figure out what the paranormal was all about. So
He's our new apprentice.
yeah, we brought him along and try to teach him how things work in the real world and not to be scared of it, and not to be scared of what he sees on TV.
And why? Yeah.
And why, yeah, why it happens that way. Not just teach him, but make him learn how things work for the real world.
And not to accept it just what we say, but to be able to form his own ideas and work with that.
Yeah, so Wanda's a teacher. She's teaching him. And just a heads up, that may be a premise for something coming up very soon for you guys, so please keep an eye out for some news on that coming soon, we hope. Maybe by the fall, you'll see some announcements.
Well, we're going to have quite a busy
It'll
time
be a
as
very
it
busy
is.
summer, let's put it that way. So, yeah, so there'll be more stuff coming, more teaching, more awakening, more knowledge coming out. This year also I want to do, I've been telling people this since last Christmas time or so, I want to do more connections and more networking this year with different people in the field. All fields actually, trying to just see how many connections we can make and networking and stuff like that, meeting new people.
Broaden our horizon. And there's
Network and hopefully getting more people means getting more locations for you guys that we can do Haunting Live at. So
Check out for us probably next week. Stay tuned. Actually, from our host, this is actually Chris actually offline. Again, those who have any questions throughout the week, please send them to us directly through our email or even our Facebook group.
yeah, so we're going to be starting doing more of these podcasts. I'm not sure if they'll be long chats or not, but every free Saturday or Friday on the weekend that we have, we'll hopefully get together with Wanda. She's our main medium that we use here. We're in Guelph tonight. That's her hometown. So we decided to come over here for the evening and relax and join you guys for podcast.